agenda.
No,
Do I have a motion to approve the agenda?
second.
All in favor? Any opposed?
I think they were here, like, a long time.
No, it says no. Okay, move on to announcements. I'd like to make an announcement and acknowledge the open meeting law and inform the public that the meeting is being recorded by hand and by CCTV. C, approval of the minutes. I'm looking for approval of the regular session meetings from October 24th.
Second.
All in favor? Any opposed? Now I'm looking for approval of the October 24th executive session meetings.
Second.
All in favor? Any opposed? Appointments, remarks of the general public. Any remarks? Remarks?
Brian Halkoff is going to give a presentation on that. In a bit.
Okay, managers report.
Correspondence. We had one correspondence.
Oh, I'm sorry, correspondence.
Yes. PMLP received a letter of thank you from the North Shore Mall general manager. They were very appreciative of our team and how quickly we were able to mobilize and respond, help them resolve an issue that occurred at the end of October. This ended up being an internal issue. It wasn't PMLP equipment, so we were able to help them track down what the problem was and then help them facilitate fixing it. So we sent a thank you letter. That's all I had for correspondence.
Okay, correspondence report. Managers report.
I have a couple items in the manager's report. We have one employee retirement. Dave LaChance, who is our mechanical handy worker, has notified us that he'll be retiring in early January. Dave's been with PMLP for a little over 10 years, and we wish him well in his retirement. And the second item is Energy New England, ENE, will be hosting a meeting in early December at their headquarters in Mansfield. Attending this meeting will be manager Anastasia and members of our power supply team, including Brian and Tina. So ENA is going to give a presentation that's centered around power supply. And I expect that manager Anastasia will provide a briefing to the commission soon after. Stay tuned for that. That's all I had for the minute.
Okay, committee report. Let committees report out. Award of bids.
We have one bid. I'd like to ask our business manager, Karen Cucci, to present the info brief on our building renovations project.
Hi, good evening. I'd like to introduce Jennifer Ferreira. She is from Mogul DiStefano Architects. So at the end of the presentation, if you have questions about specs or anything that the architect did, she's available tonight. But I'll start off saying that you got your info brief on the general contracting bidding. This is for the upstairs renovation, which includes the exercise room, the expansion room, and the engineering area. As I've told you before, the plan is to move the exercise equipment back to the old exercise room. The records room in the expansion area will be become offices and cubicles for the ISS group, IT. And the engineering area will also be renovated and will be adding offices and cubicles, updated cubicles into there. So this upstairs renovations includes those three areas with 6 new offices, a new conference room, and 16 cubicles, and all the other variables that go into the renovation, which includes painting, electrical upgrades, fire alarm upgrades, lighting, um, flooring, and I think that's it.
I would imagine new desks and so on and so forth.
Yeah, the office furniture will be upgraded since it's the original from 1989. So we're upgrading those three areas. As I said, we hired Mogul DiStefano Architects that designed and prepared the bid specs for the subbidders and the general contractor. We had 2 bid openings here, and one is for the subbidders that the general contractor hired because they're the lowest bidders. The lowest general contractor was Gage Construction, and they were the lowest qualified bidder. They did have a representative that came to the walkthrough. He was very interested. He, had his measuring tape and was very involved through the walkthrough. And he was at the bid opening, so that shows me that they're really interested. He's already called me and asked me, what is the next step? So I told him what we had to get this approved, and then we would move forward. They did, but he came to both the walkthrough and the bid opening. So any opportunities that he had to come look at it and put his eyes on it, he gave construction this year. Yeah. And all their references were positive, and the Google searches that I did were positive as well. So as you can see from the info brief, there was 3 alternates that we're accepting. And even with all the alternates, Gage Construction was the lowest bidder. If you guys have any questions about
Tara, have we received all the bids into the roof? That bid that goes out?
the roof, is for 2025.
Oh, okay. So you're still taking bids for it? No,
We haven't even started quite
you haven't
yet.
started yet. Oh, but you talked about the last bid, that was good. Okay. Good. So they'll probably commence after the first of the year?
Yep. We have to have the budget to start moving forward. Okay, so the alternate that they bid on was the HVAC design alternate. So that's the heating and air conditioning. In the expansion room now, there was 1 unit for that area. So they suggested we'd have to get 2 units or 3 units. We went out to bid. And so after looking at the pricing, the 3 units we thought was the way to go, which basically means there's 3 different zones in that area to control the heating and air conditioning. The second alternate was extending the new walls up to the ceiling or even farther. It goes up to that. So they'll make the walls even larger to help with the sound and that kind of stuff for the engineering area and the expansion area. And the third alternate was to remove all the old workstations and get rid of them while they're in there doing all the renovations. The motion that I have is including them, and as you can see from where they did, it wasn't that much additional money to have them, so with Joe's approval, he wanted to include all of the alternates in the final bid. And I might say that this bid is almost half of what we budgeted for. So we are doing pretty well with the bids we got. We got, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 bids, and they were all within the same range area, but Gage came in the lowest.
Are we bound by law to take the lowest qualified bidder?
Yes,
We're bound by that.
yes, we are.
I have one more question. I noticed Gage has been, and all their things are lower than all the others, except for 3, alternate 3. How do they explain they're so high on alternate 3 compared to the others?
Um,
Thank you. I would have asked them. I would have asked them to look at that again. But I mean, compared to the way they've been bidding, I mean, they were lower on every other thing. And they're double the next guy.
there was 2 other bidders that were less than them, and the other,
Oh, I saw it. Yeah, I saw that.
yeah, and 3 other bidders that were more, so we just figured it was in the range, and all in all, the bid was the lowest bid. Mhm. Basing it on some of the other bidding that we've done, I kind of said, well, 3 areas, 500,000 each. We put a bid in less than our budget into the advertisement. We put in 900,000, and then they came in lower than that. So we were strategically trying to get the lowest bid as possible. Yeah. So, do you have any more questions?
Second.
Need a roll call on that one?
Yes.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thanks, Karen.
Thanks, Karen.
Thank you, Laverne.
You'll see some things moving around in here. Thanks a lot.
Okay, moving on, general business. Tim?
General business, I have 3 items. First item is net metering policy. Our power supply manager, Brian, is here to give us an update on the net metering policy. Please, Brian.
Thank you. Good evening, Commissioners. First of all, if there's any questions as I'm going along, feel free to just ask as I go. So I was asked to present some information about our net metering policy. So the way I approached this is there were kind of 3 questions that I was trying to answer. One is, how does our net metering policy stack up against other municipal light plans? What is the value of the incentive that we give to the customers compared to what is the value of the energy that they provide to us? And are we incentivizing that appropriately? And also, what are the overall kind of economics of doing solar in Peabody? You know, is it even cost effective? I didn't really know the answer to those questions going into this, so Christine and I, she was a big help. We kind of dug into the data and kind of looked for those answers. So to start off, I'll just give a quick summary of PMLP's net metering policy as it stands today, and actually as it's stood since 2013. So for PMLP customer interested in solar, they'll reach out to vendors, get them quotes from those vendors. After they choose a vendor, the vendor fills out the net metering application. That gets submitted to the engineering department. We review it for completeness. Once we're satisfied, we'll sign it, return it to the vendor. That's their permission to install the system. They get it installed. We go out there, our engineer and our meter tech, we do some safety checks, and as long as everything checks out, we install the net meter, and they're good to operate from there. The way that settlement works is for residential customers, for any energy that the customer delivers back to PMLP, it offsets what they would otherwise be buying from us. So in essence, for any energy they deliver back to us, we're getting full retail for that energy, which is a bit unique as we found. There is kind of a limit to that. So as the customer delivers energy back to us, if they deliver more energy to us than we deliver to them, then they build up like a bank of credits, and those credits can be used in future bills to offset future usage. And then at the end of the calendar year, if they still have a bank, then the bank gets emptied out at the end of the calendar year and they get wholesale. So as long as they're not a net producer over the whole calendar year, they're getting full retail for everything they deliver back to us. But if they are a net producer over the whole calendar year, then just for that surplus, they're getting wholesale as opposed to retail. For commercial industrial customers, they get wholesale for any energy they deliver back to us. To Susan's question earlier, there are 42 residential net metering customers in PBD right now, and 5 commercial industrial net metering customers. There's 41 municipal light plants in Massachusetts. Athena and I kind of dug into as many of them as we could. We found 35 net metering policies. We found net metering policies for 35 of the 41. Of the 35, 13 had some sort of upfront rebate. 7 offered full one-for-one net metering, with PMLP being included in that 7. None of them offered rebates as well as full one-for-one net metering. The policies are kind of all over the place, and it's kind of hard to compare apples to apples. So what we did is we took kind of like a typical solar customer, meaning about a 7 kW system that produced 10,000 kilowatt hours annually. And for that customer, we looked at what the incentives would be for each of those 35 municipal light plants annually. And where the municipal light plant had an upfront rebate, we kind of spread that out over 20 years, is how we kind of annualized that. And when we kind of stacked everybody up from top to bottom, we looked at where PMLP landed, and we were 9th out of 35. So of the 8 that were above us, 3 of those had upfront rebates valued at about $7,000. 3 had basically the same policy we did, or even slightly less favorable policy, but because their rates were higher, and we're offering full retail credits for anything they deliver back to us, and the rates are higher, the incentives are higher. So that's why they landed higher than we did, even though our policies are basically the same. So on average, what that looks like, we're giving back about $775 annually to each of our residential net metering customers on average. Looking at the 35 MLPs that we looked at, the average was about $550. So we were a little north of that. So the next question that we tried to answer is, what do the economics look like in Peabody? Is it even worth it? And there are different revenue streams that a net metering customer gets in Peabody. So the state tax credits, that's about $1,000 per customer. Federal tax credits are about 10,000. Rec revenue is about, renewable energy credit revenue is about 7,000. They're buying less energy from PMLP. There's about a $15,000 reduction in energy costs that they have to pay to PMLP. In addition, they're getting credited for what they deliver back to PMLP. That's another 15,000. So all in all, they're getting about 48,000 in tax credits, rec revenue, and credits from PMLP over the life of the system. And the life of the system today costs about 38,000. So it is economical. Obviously, it's kind of a long-term investment. When you're spending 38,000 for a system, it's going to take you time to realize that money over time. But in the long run, the math does kind of add up. So in summary, our incentives are already kind of on par or, even higher than most other municipal light plants that we looked at. They are high enough that, the economics work long term. I don't really see a need for wholesale program changes. A tweak that we could make, it's just something that I've heard over the years. So for our residential customers, we allow them to build up credits over the calendar year, and the bank that zeroed out for wholesale at the end of the calendar year. It'd be advantageous for our customers if we shifted that by 2 months. So if we did like April 1 to March 31st with the calendar year instead of January 1 to December 31st. And the reason for that is most of our customers kind of build up a bank of credits during the summer, obviously when it's more sunny. And then during the winter time, when they're heating their home but not producing a lot, they use up those credits. So it'd be helpful if they had an opportunity throughout the winter to use up those credits. And then we did cashing out at the end of March as opposed to the end of December. Athena and I looked at, how much that would cost PMLP, and it's, fairly modest. It'd be like an extra $1,600, across PMLP per year if we wanted to make that calendar shift. And it's about it for my presentation. That's it. Yeah, I mean, part of it is just our rates are cheaper. I mean, if you compare our net metering policy to National Grid's net metering policy, they're actually not that different. We're offering full retail net metering, they're offering full retail net metering, but their rates are so much higher that it's a lot quicker for you to make your money back by installing. We didn't. I mean, I don't know that there was too many solar installs before 2013. It was fairly new technology back then.
How do you account for the fact that you're saying you give them full retail?
Yep.
But how do you account for the fact that the retail you're setting includes maintenance charges for line maintenance and everything like that?
Yeah.
So how do you account for us losing that?
You're right. I mean, it is. So, yeah, so we're each of our customers, we're giving them $775 per year for energy that they're delivering to us. The energy that they're delivering to us is only valued at about $115 on the wholesale level. So on the wholesale level. So in essence, we're kind of subsidizing each customer $660 every year, kind of on the back of all of our other customers, because as a nonprofit, that's how it works. When you incentivize one group of customers, it's necessarily at the cost of another group of customers. So I think that's what we're doing.
Is that similar to what other municipals are doing?
Yeah, I mean, we're on the higher end of the other municipals, but I mean, we're not too far off. I mean, kind of the average of what the municipals are doing is about $550 per year, and we're $775 per year. So we're, north of the average, but not too far off anymore.
So the only reason this is working out okay is we don't have a great number of them. Because if we had a great number of them, then we'd notice the difference.
And there are safeguards in our net metering policy. There are, system caps So after, a certain number of systems get installed across the system, and that automatically triggers us to review the net metering policy.
Thank you very much, Ron.
You're welcome. Yeah. My understanding is they do something, they don't subsidize, there's no upfront rebate. They do basically what we do. So when a customer overproduces and delivers that energy back to utilities, they get credit for that energy that's delivered back to utilities, value at full retail. But their retail is at least twice as ours. So the credits are greater than ours because their retail is. Yeah, there are mass save rebates. There are mass save rebates to I think to convert to heat pumps. Yeah, that I know of. Yeah, that's true. That I know.
Thank you, Brian.
Thanks, Brian.
You're welcome.
I had a couple other items for the general business. Next is the PMLP holiday party. This year, our annual party will be held on December 14th at Cascata Forno on Linfield Street. This is where we had it last year. Seemed like it was a nice venue, and we hope to see you all there. Last item I have is we received a hydro Quebec check in the amount of $29,187.26. This check will be placed in the rate stabilization fund.
Okay, remarks from the commission? I'd like to just wish everybody a happy holiday, happy Thanksgiving. I won't see everybody till after holiday. Anybody else?
Same here. And I'd like to welcome our new employees. Thank you. Good job, Brian, as always.
Okay, so looking for a motion to adjourn the regular session.
Second.
Yes.
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 Thank you all.
Karen, the commissioner's room, is that part of the plan? The architect's here now. Is that part of the plan?
Are we getting?
Yeah, the